All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Brittany Hampton, and I'm going to start my presentation with a brief discussion on my background. Oh, I have to click. Okay, so I received my bachelor's degree in metalsmithing and jewelry from the University of North Texas, and I'm currently an MFA candidate at the University of North Texas. I'm expected to graduate in May 2024. Some of my work has been featured in exhibitions such as 30 Under 30 at GDAC and Paper Alchemy at the Floyd Center for the Arts. So I just want to talk about my studio practice as a metalsmith. So my work is inspired by nature, but it is not meant to mimic any specific plant or structure, but to create something that looks like it is cut from the same cloth. Carnivorous plants are what I'm specifically interested in. They lure their prey through nectar and intense coloring, and my collection of work, like the carnivorous plant, aims to lure people closer. This is achieved through colorful reflections and small details to entice people to take a closer look. My main body of work uses a combination of textile techniques and metalsmithing. I use techniques such as knitting copper wire, crochet, and weaving copper wire in my work. I use these to create three-dimensional forms that are enameled with opaque and transparent enamels. Through experimentation, I have developed a technique similar to plique-à-jour. If you're unfamiliar with plique-à-jour, to put it simply, it's an enameling technique with no copper backing, which gives it a similar appearance to a stained glass window. And because not everyone is familiar with this technique, I wanted to add a visual example of plique-à-jour. This is a plique-à-jour bowl. All of the lines have been cut out of metal and filled with a transparent enamel. But unlike traditional plique-à-jour, my work coats copper wire with an opaque enamel, and then the negative space is filled in with a transparent. You can see in this piece here, all of the orange is opaque, and then these little negative spaces have been filled in with a blue transparent enamel. And then just to show an example of my work in progress so you understand my technique a little bit better. The green pieces have been enameled with an opaque enamel, and the orange piece is shown again where all of the opaque has been fully fired, and you can see I'm starting to fill in those areas with the transparent blue. So my enameled forms are combined with polished silver. Transparent enamel paired with a silver backing allows for colorful reflections from the transparent enamel to be reflected off the surface of the silver. This reflection moves depending on the angle of the viewer and gives my piece a sense of life and movement. And then going back to one of my previous images, this piece really showcases the transparent enamel reflecting onto that silver backing. You can see the bright orange reflections, and you can even see how the silver backing is also reflecting some of that opaque enamel as well, making it interesting and kind of giving it a kaleidoscope effect. So my more recent brooches have been paired with ceramic wall mounts. This gives my work a place to sit when not being worn. The idea behind this is to have my brooches be treated less as an accessory and more as a sculpture worthy of display, so that even when the brooch is not being worn, the ceramic wall mount can remain on the wall as its own separate sculpture. So next I want to talk about my pedagogy experience. During my time in grad school at the University of North Texas, I have had the opportunity to teach several courses. So here's a list of some of the courses I have taught. I've taught 3 different courses. I've been a TA for Foundations, Perception, and Translation, which is a course that focused on the translation of visual phenomena through analog and digital mark making. I have also been a TA for Professional Practices for Studio Artists. This course teaches students practical aspects for succeeding as a practicing artist outside of academics. And then lastly, I have been a teaching fellow for beginning metalsmithing and jewelry, which focuses on teaching students the basics of metalsmithing. As a TF, I've been able to create my own syllabi and design assignments for the course. Throughout the course, students are given 4 major assignments that are meant to help them understand basic metalsmithing techniques such as large-scale soldering, cold connections, forging, enameling, and hollow form construction. So I just kind of want to go through some of the projects and student examples that I have taught in my course. So the first project students are assigned is the luminarium, where students have to design and fabricate a cylindrical luminarium based off a work of literature that is designed to hold a small candle. The goal for this assignment is to learn proper filing, cutting, sinking, sanding techniques in metals. This project also reminds students that 3-dimensional work is meant to be viewed like in the round. So their design, they must consider their composition from every angle. Students also learn a project called the Shadow Puppet Project, where they learn the process of texturing and cold connections through rivets. They develop a design sense for combining layers, textures, and kinetic movement. The nature of this project allows students who are primarily familiar with the 2D medium to really flex their creativity and create something both aesthetically pleasing as well as refined and tactile. With rivets being the focal point and technical part of this project, students are now able to take movement, which in 2D art is usually only implied, and actually allow their work to move. And you can see with this student example here, it was quite clever how all of these cats and the wings all fold together and line up so that they can be revealed. The next project I teach students is the enameled spoon assignment. This helps students learn the process of forging wire and enameling and develop a sense of design for incorporating color on metal. Students are also asked to simultaneously think about function of their spoon and how that function is going to relate to the ornament of the spoon. Students tend to have a lot of fun with this project. And it also helps them develop problem-solving skills. For example, the spoon pieces, so the spoon bowl that's enameled has to be created separately from the spoon handle. In the student example, this purple comet was enameled and then later attached to the handle through rivets. This has to be done and taken into consideration because the whole spoon itself cannot go in the kiln. Due to the nature and just the temperature of enameling, all these soldered elements on the spoon handle would melt and fall off in the kiln. So students have to problem solve how they're going to connect both these pieces into one final cohesive project. And then lastly, students are given the keepsake box assignment where they have to design a box meant to hold a specific small keepsake, something that's important to them. They have to plan and construct this dimensional metal object using sheet metal. And with this assignment, I encourage students to use any of the techniques they have learned throughout the semester. They are also asked to consider how the object relates to the ornament of the box and how the item sits or fits in the space they have created within the box. This project can also be challenging craftsmanship-wise. It can be very difficult to figure out how to properly clean up any pools of solder. So that is usually the biggest challenge at the end for students to make sure that they reach a level of craftsmanship for this final project. In the future, I would like to continue teaching metalsmithing at the college level. I want to be able to inspire others using the using metal as a medium. Metal can be an unforgiving medium, but the art one can create with it can last generations. So thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. If you feel free to contact me with any further inquiries using the information shown on the screen. Well, thank you.